Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Thanks for joining us again. If you just joined us, it's CoreTV Primetime News. For the first time since 1999, the top two positions in the Senate have been shared by two political parties. Senator Bukola Saraki of the All Progressives Congress emerged unopposed as Senate President, while Iko Ekweremadu of the People's Democratic Party as Deputy Senate President. 57 out of 108 senators were in the chamber when Saraki was returned unopposed, contrary to the wishes of the ruling APC.
May I now call on the senator-elect so nominated.
It all began with the clerk of the National Assembly, Salisu Kasua, announcing a presidential proclamation. This was at a time the chamber was half filled with senators-elect.
Bestowed on me upon Section 463, aforesaid, out of all other powers enabling me in that behalf, hereby proclaim that the first session of the 8th National Assembly shall hold at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, 9 June 2015 in the National Assembly, Abuja. Given under my hand and the public seal of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at Abuja, this first day, June 2015, signed Muhammadu Buhari, President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And when it was time for roll call, it was clear that 51 senators from APC and PDP were absent. Many of the senators backing Ahmed Lawan were at the ICC for a supposed meeting with President Buhari. But this did not stop calls for nomination, and at the end, only one, that of Senator Bukola Saraki, was received.
I rise to nominate Senator Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki to take the chair of the Senate as President of the Senate. I so move. Brief citation of Senator Abubakar Bukola Saraki. Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, CON, was born on 19th December 1962 in the family of Dr. Abubakar Olusola Saraki, or Baji compound, in the ancient city of Ilorin, the Kwara State capital.
He was returned unopposed, but Deputy Senate President Iko Ekweremadu had to contend with Aline Dume to retain his position.
I, Senator Iko Ekweremadu,
do solemnly
swear
that I will be faithful,
and bear true allegiance
to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, sir.
In his inaugural speech, the new Senate President assured his colleagues of fairness and equity after the inauguration of the 8th Senate.
Do solemnly swear that I will be faithful, and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I seek your support, I seek your cooperation, and continue to offer myself in this position to be fair to all and to ensure the unity of this chamber. We have, as I said, we have inherited from our predecessor a great landmark, and we pray that the Almighty God will increase our wisdom and visit us with the courage that always do our best for our people. May this hallowed chamber continue to ennoble the memory of great countrymen and women who fought and died so that the democracy might see the light of our country.
At the end of the sitting, senators, mostly from PDP, hailed the emergence of Saraki as a good development.
That we hope that this will make us cooperate fully, stabilize the 8th Assembly, so that we'll cooperate with the executive.
We have gone a step further in our march through democracy. It's an indication that we are maturing democratically. It's an indication that this House would work together to the benefit of Nigerians and our constituents.
It's also instructive that there were more PDP governors in the chamber to witness the emergence of the new Senate leadership than those of the ruling party. The Senate had adjourned till Wednesday for the commencement of legislative activities, and that is when the shape of things will begin to unfold.
Meanwhile, the much-touted meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and senators elected on the platform of the APC ended in disarray as soon as news filtered in that Bukola Saraki has been elected Senate President. Federal lawmakers and party chieftains who were still expecting the arrival of Mr. President were shocked, and the meeting ended even before it began. Basiae captured the scene at the International Conference Center when the news broke.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Confused as you are. So, because you remember I came in from Lagos. Yes, sir. I'm waiting for the president to come and address us.
Meanwhile, the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President has thrown Kwara State into jubilation. The eventual election of Saraki has also blurred party lines and divides by Kwara politicians as soon as Kwara APC and the PDP welcome the development. Rashid has more.
Immediately after the general election, the game of who becomes what in the 8th Assembly has been on. As the struggle intensified lately, Kwara State, the home state of Bukola Saraki, was up in jubilation with the news of his emergence as Senate President against all odds. The opposition party, the PDP, was first to congratulate Saraki, saying his emergence, especially with the PDP man as his deputy, is a sign of change in Nigeria's democracy.
No, I cannot see how it's going to precipitate crisis, because you are giving what is Caesar to Caesar, and what is of God you are giving to God. I see it as a step forward in re-engineering democracy in Nigeria. One, if he can get the seat unopposed as it is, it's because there are some forces that came up, and they know that those who are designing his failure before will not be able to stand before those forces.
For Kwara APC, and indeed the state government, irrespective of the way Saraki emerged, it's a well-deserved victory.
All the rules required for his election were complied with. The House was inaugurated, they formed the quorum, and he was unanimously elected.
We'll bring you details of that report subsequently. Lasson Yusuf from Osun State has also emerged as the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, defeating Mohammed Tahi Mongono with 203 votes to 153 in the election for the position on the floor of the House. Lasson Yusuf, representing Olorunda Ifedayo Osogbo Federal Constituency of Osun State, emerged after he and Mongono went into election for the post of Deputy Speaker following the nominations by members of the House. The All Progressives Congress has described the emergence of Senator Bukola Saraki from Kwara Central as the Senate President and Yusuf Dogara as the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 8th National Assembly as totally unacceptable and the height of party indiscipline. This was in a statement issued in Abuja by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed. The APC said both Saraki and Dogara are not the candidate of the APC, and a majority of its National Assembly members elect for the positions of Senate President and House Speaker. The party's publicity scribe added that the party duly met and conducted a straw poll, and clear candidates emerged for the posts of Senate President, Deputy Senate President, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, supported by a majority of all senators-elect and members-elect of the House of Representatives, while adding that all National Assembly members-elect who emerged on the platform of the party are bound by that decision and that the party is supreme. He had, however, advised all its loyal senators-elect to report to the Senate to be sworn in order to discharge their constitutional duties. President Muhammadu Buhari has also said he had noted the outcome of the elections of leaders of the National Assembly and stood by his earlier position that they will work with whoever the lawmakers elect as their leaders. He said although he would have preferred that the process of electing the leaders as initiated and concluded by the party was followed, he was of the opinion that constitutional process has somewhat occurred. Buhari's position was contained in a statement made available to journalists by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity Femi Adesina. Constitutional order and the overall interest of the common man were uppermost on the president's mind as far as the National Assembly elections were concerned. The presidential spokesman further quoted the president as calling on all the elected representatives of the people to focus on the enormous task of bringing enduring positive change to the lives of Nigerians. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has also congratulated the newly elected leaders of the National Assembly. He also admonished them to see the elections beyond the narrow interests of partisan politics. The former Vice President said this in a statement issued by his media office shortly after he received the new Senate President Bukola Saraki in Abuja. He noted that with the elections of its presiding officers, the 8th National Assembly should swing to work and put the overall national interest beyond the personal political interests of its members. Atiku Abubakar also noted that regardless of the political mix through which the presiding officers emerged, the lawmakers should never lose focus of their role as a partner in progress with other arms of government. We'll take another break now, and we'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DJ360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. You can get all of the top stories on any of the social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG. And we're also streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV, space and news. The People's Democratic Party has advised the All Progressives Congress to respect the will of the people and accept the independence of the legislature. It also congratulated newly elected Senate President Bukola Saraki, his deputy Ikwe Kweramadu, as well as the new Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara. The party said in a statement that the election shows that no section of the country should be neglected on national issues. PDP spokesman Olisa Meto described the development in both chambers of the National Assembly as a victory for democracy and a reflection of what its party always believed in. Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola said on Tuesday that his administration had performed creditably well despite its inability to pay some workers in the state for the past 7 months. According to a statement issued in Osogbo on Tuesday by his media aide, Semiu Okonawon, the governor, who scored himself high, spoke during a courtesy visit to him by Osun Action Strategy and Development Group. He, however, said he was pained by the inability of his government to pay workers, but also sympathized with workers while assuring them that the hardship will soon come to an end. Describing the situation as an economic strategy, he attributed the current misfortune to gross mishandling of the nation's economy by the last regime of the People's Democratic Party. He stated that the unchecked oil theft under the PDP, in which the nation was losing 400,000 barrels per day, culminated in drastic reduction of oil price in the international market. This price fall has created for the country a tragedy for huge proportion that translated to economic disaster, pains and agony for the workers across the country. Argoshala stated the state collected 5 billion naira's monthly allocation in February 2013, but the allocation drastically reduced to a mere 540 million naira in April 2015. There was palpable tension in Bayelsa State on Tuesday following the rejection of the victory of the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance in the rescheduled assembly election. The Barito Kagwe-led Independent National Electoral Commission in the state turned down the verdict of the presiding officer, Beremeko Bathola, announcing the APGA candidate Alfred Watson as the winner of the poll held last Saturday. Some politicians and supporters of Watson said there was no reason why the electoral umpire should reject the poll result, describing the action of INEC as shameful, and that the Dixon administration is manipulating it. But other groups within the ruling People's Democratic Party called on the APGA's candidate to stop parading himself as the winner of the rescheduled assembly election in Brass Constituency 2, that's in Baz, local government area of the state. But in a statement issued by the public relations officer of the commission, Timidi Wariowe, he declared that the last Saturday's House of Assembly rescheduled elections in Brass Constituency 2 was inconclusive. As speculations mount and interpretations are given to the inaugural speech of President Muhammadu Buhari, another elder Yahaya Kwande has called for caution, urging all hands to be on deck for the Buhari administration to truly move the nation forward. Our Plateau State correspondent has more in this report presented from our studios.
The sentence in his inaugural address, "I am for everybody and I am for nobody," by President Muhammadu Buhari has led to heated debates among all Nigerians. But for Yahaya Kwande, a northern elder who has worked closely with Buhari, he says he should not be misquoted or misrepresented.
No, you just have to analyze what he says, and then you will know the answer. I am for everybody. That is the equation. Not for everybody, I'm not for anybody. That means I'm going to be neutral. I'm going to accept everybody in his own right. I'm going to be just. I will equate whatever I do justly.
Kwande added that all the president was saying is that he will be a president for all and not a religious bigot.
Because that means he is telling Nigerians that I am no more a Northerner. I am no more an Easterner. I am no more a Westerner. Nor am I a Daurama. I am a Nigerian. That's all that he is saying. So deal with me freely and with confidence, because I don't belong to anybody.
He also assured all Nigerians that the president will be independent-minded and have the nation's best interest at heart.
He is also answering, in my estimation of explaining this position, is now saying that I don't belong to a particular group that you have been talking about that funded my election or had my election. Tell them I'm not for them.
The G7 group of industrialized nations has resolved to support the new Nigerian president, Muhammadu Buhari. This followed the group's acknowledgement of the way and manner of his emergence and the tremendous challenges the government faces, especially in relation to the Boko Haram insurgency. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu said that at the end of his principal's presentation on Monday, the G7 leader said they recognized the president's massive amount of confidence and expectations behind his government. They acknowledge him as having emerged from an election adjudged to be the freest in the country's electoral history, but regretted the severe handicaps his new government has to face from the outset. President Buhari, who had the privilege of being the first to address the G7 among the invited presidents and prime ministers, was warmly received at the summit. He returned to Nigeria in the early hours of Tuesday, 9th of June. Two suspected masterminds of a bombing at the Gombe Line Transport Services in 2014 have been arrested after a shootout with troops in Gombe on Sunday. The suspected high-profile terrorists were arrested following surveillance and intelligence operations that tracked them to a checkpoint at Bajoga in the state. A statement by the Director of Defense Information, Chris Olukolade, in Abuja on Tuesday said one of the suspects who sustained serious injuries during the encounter was being treated at a military medical center. Chief of Defense Staff Alex Bade has however called for a resolute and cohesive response from members of the Lake Chad Basin Commission to the Boko Haram threat. Speaking at the extraordinary summit of Chiefs of Defense Staff of the LCBC countries in Abuja on Tuesday, Bade noted that the insurgent group is an extension of the high global security threat. Bade stressed the need for closer collaboration between the LCBC countries to curb the Boko Haram menace through a robust joint security initiative through the multinational joint task force. Edo State Police Command have charged 98 suspects to court for various crime-related offences, including the 11 suspected court leaders arrested about 3 weeks ago in Benin over killing arising from court clashes. The suspects have been arraigned before a special magistrate court within the command headquarters in Benin City for offences ranging from courtesan, kidnapping, murder, armed robbery, and unlawful possession of firearms. Our Radio State correspondent has more in this report presented from our studios.
Following the arrest of the 11 suspected cultists 3 weeks ago and their subsequent parade before newsmen on the orders of Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase, arising from the alarming loss of lives from clashes between cult groups in the state, the State Police commanders arraigned the suspects along with some others. The State Police Commissioner Sam Adegbuyi says the IGP's intervention was a game changer.
From Delta and Anambra State, as well as personnel from Federal SAS. The synergy paved off, and in the process, total number of 227 suspects were arrested in connection with courtesan, kidnapping, murder, armed robbery, and unlawful possession of firearms throughout Edo State. Exhibits recovered 8 AK-47 rifles, 10 locally made.
Parading the suspects arrested by the Command Public Relations Officer, Deputy Superintendent of Police Stephen Onwoche, before newsmen, the PPRO said most of them were arrested in the state and will be charged accordingly.
There shall be standing trial for being members of different cult groups. They are cultists. They confessed to be members of different cults, though variously arrested at different points in time and places in the town. But these ones seated are members of confirmed cult group, namely Eye, Mafite, Black Axe, Aye, and all that. So they are all confirmed members. And some of the exhibits we recovered came from some of them. Not all, some of them. But basically all of them here are cultists, confirmed.
One of the 11 suspected cultists brought in from Abuja, speaking on behalf of others to newsmen, denied all the allegations leveled against him and the 10 others. He says the police is perpetrating injustice.
We were arrested. We were arrested in a meeting where we were supposed to hold with the Commissioner of Police, where we were asked to put our assistance into assisting the police with information, because we are not law enforcement agents. We are ceded to it, which we have been doing before now, since the former Commissioner of Police. And we got there and we were arrested by the federal SARS. We were taken to Abuja and paraded by assisting them with information, because all the crime that happen in our populace happens in communities, and in the communities that these things happen, most of these criminals are known. If they are known and the policemen cannot identify them, ours was to assist with intelligence information, so that which we have been doing over time.
The 11 suspects had earlier protested that the police should separate them from other crime suspects to be paraded. Among items recovered from them are arms,
6 central bank staff, Patience Okorie, Afolabi Olufemi Johnson, Lori Adekunle Sunday, Kalawale Babalola, Olaniran Muniru Adiola, and Fatai Adedokun Yusuf, as well as others, being prosecuted over an 8 billion naira mutilated currency recycling fraud, are to remain in prison until June 15, 2015. This was after Justice I. Emmanuel of the Federal High Court Ibadan, Oyo State, adjourned to Monday, June 15 for ruling on the bail application brought by the accused persons. At today's sitting, counsel to the EFCC, Rotimi Jacobs, prayed the court not to grant the accused persons bail, as they were capable of interfering with the case. He also told the court that some of the accused persons have threatened witnesses in the case who were staff of the Apex Bank, prompting the bank to transfer such staff. He said that in view of public interest in the current mood of the nation, it was better to remand the accused persons in prison and order accelerated hearing. The Nigerian Union of Allied Healthcare Professionals, which is the association body for all healthcare professionals in the health sector, has called off its 3-week-long strike while giving the federal government till July 31 to look into the issues that led to the strike. The strike, which commenced on May 18, 2015, has crippled the health sector across the nation as pharmacists, physiotherapists, medical laboratory scientists, radiographers, dietitians, dental technologists, optometrists, clinical psychologists, medical social workers, and other health professionals, except doctors and nurses, down to. National President of the Union, Obina Ogbonna, said during a brief at the University College Hospital Ibadan on Tuesday that work would resume in all federal government-owned hospitals across the country on Wednesday. He said the National Administrative Council of the Union on June 4, 2015 have assessed the impact of the strike through responses from the unit branches across the nation and agreed that the strike was very effective nationwide. He added that the council noted that the industrial action had drawn the attention of President Muhammadu Buhari to the pending issues in the sector, which the immediate past government left unresolved. We'll take a break now and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it. I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
On Business Tonight, transactions by domestic investors in the equity segment of the Nigerian Stock Exchange rose by 37.55%, or 88.87 billion naira in the first 4 months of this year when compared to the same period of 2014. A review of data from the exchange showed between January 1 and April 30, 2015, domestic equity transactions on the exchange amounted to 325.52 billion naira compared to 236.65 billion naira in the first 4 months of 2014. In January, domestic transactions in stock has stood at 90.61 billion naira. It however declined in February to 50.54 billion naira before picking up in March at 84.46 billion naira and surging to 102.91 billion naira in April. A total of 45 government ministries, departments, and agencies executed 1,719 projects for the Federal Capital Territory in 2014 at the cost of 155.98 billion naira, according to a report. The information was contained in the report entitled Mapping of Capital Projects in the 2014 Federal Government of Nigeria Budget, produced by the National Assembly Budget and Research Office. According to the report, while some of the projects are new, others are ongoing. The publication, however, did not give details on the extent of the execution of the projects, but outlined what project belonged to each media. In the fiscal year 2014, 45 MDAs of capital projects specific to the FCT, totaling the sum of 158.98 billion naira to be spent on 1,719 projects, including ongoing and new projects. The Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to consider the recovery of over $7.5 billion, that's about 1.4 trillion naira, from oil and gas companies operating in Nigeria as a major priority in his economic policy agenda expected to be unfolded very soon. The agency, in a statement on Tuesday, said the amount represented clear cases of underpayments, underassessment of taxes, royalties, rents reviewed by NATI in its several independent audit reports, which had not been adequately addressed in the past. The statement quoted the Executive Secretary NATI, Zainab Ahmed, to have made the call in Abuja at an oil and gas conference to articulate an agenda for the administration in support of the proposed oil and gas industry reforms. We'll move now to stories making headline in the sports arena. Former captains of Super Eagles Austin J.J. Okocha and Nwankwo Kanu have said Nigeria has the chance of winning the FIFA Under-20 World Cup for the first time at the ongoing tournament in New Zealand. The Flying Eagles lost their opening game to Brazil, but bounced back to reckoning when they defeated Korea DPR in Hungary in Group E as they booked their ticket to face Germany in the second round of the tournament. Nigeria have twice come close to winning the tournament, that was in 1989 and 2005, but they ended up losing to Portugal and Argentina on both occasions respectively. Ghana remained the only African team to have won the tournament. Okocha, who lamented the absence of Nigerian players in the UEFA Champions League final, said Nigerian football has declined. Kanu, on the other hand, want the team to be cautious as they progress in the tournament. While Super Eagles captain Vincent Ayama has said he may retire from international football after the 2017 African Cup of Nations should Nigeria qualify. The Lille goalkeeper is in his 13th year as the Eagles' first choice, said that it was about time and left the younger keepers to have a go at the position. The Eagles' goaltender explained that the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State, Gospel Akpabio, prevented him from retiring from the team after Nigeria failed to qualify for the 2015 African Cup of Nations. He said his wife and pastor also prevailed on him to drop the plan. Nobody gave him a chance when I started, he says. I was a rookie also. I built it up. I worked hard for it and became the big person that nobody wants to lose. End of quote. Ayama made his debut at the Eagles against Kenya in May 2002 and has gone on to be capped 100 times for the team. Became the highest capped player in the team's history with former captain Joseph Yobo. His first competitive debut at the FIFA World Cup was against England, in which he kept a clean sheet for the country. He has since then featured at the 2010 and 2014 World Cups. Newcastle caretaker manager John Kever has been sacked along with coach Steve Stone. Kever, 50, he took charge for the final 20 games of this season following the departure of Alan Pardew to Crystal Palace, but won just 3 matches. The club narrowly avoided relegation from the Premier League. Former England and Derby manager Steve McLaren is favourite to become Pardew's permanent successor when he returns from holiday later this week. McLaren was twice approached by Newcastle towards the end of the season, but preferred to stay at Derby. To other stories outside Nigeria, U.S. President Barack Obama has said the Pentagon was reviewing ways to help Iraq train and equip its forces. But Obama is also requesting for a full commitment to the process, which was needed by the Iraqis themselves. He had earlier met Iraqi Prime Minister Hadi al-Abadi on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Germany. IS has recently made gains in Iraq despite U.S.-led coalition airstrikes. In May, the militant seized Ramadi, the capital of Anbar, Iraq's largest province, as well as the Syrian town of Tadmor and the neighboring ancient ruins of Palmyra. U.S. officials cited the lack of training as a major factor in the fall of Ramadi. Well, coming days after Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras rejected a set of reforms put forward by EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, the EU and IMF want further economic reforms before they release $7.2 billion of bailout funds. It's believed Athens has conceded ground on VAT reforms, pensions, and the country's primary surplus target. Among the plans being put forward by the government, it's believed Greece is willing to increase VAT, but still maintain three rates: a standard rate, a reduced rate for food and medicine, and a further reduced rate for books and hotel accommodation. The government has proposed increasing its three rates of VAT, and Athens is also willing to move closer to creditor demands over the primary surplus as well. The EU and IMF want the economy to run a primary surplus of GDP this year and 2 next year. Athens prefers a target of 0.6 of GDP this year and 1 next year. The Southern Front, an alliance of rebel groups, announced that the base known as Brigade 52 was liberated in an attack on Tuesday morning. The base outside the town of Harak is one of the largest in Daraa province. Officials have not commented, but it's confirmed its fall would be the latest in a string of defeats suffered by the government in the past 3 months. At the start of April, the Southern Front captured the Nasib border crossing with Jordan, days after another rebel alliance seized the capital of the northwestern province of Idlib. The jihadist group Islamic State, meanwhile, took the strategically important central town of Tadmor and the neighboring ancient ruins of Palmyra last month. To end CoreTV Primetime News tonight, another look at the top star. Saraki has emerged Senate President contrary to the dictates of his party as Nkrumah returns as Deputy Senate President. Yakubu Dogara is the new Speaker of the House of Representatives as Lasson Yusuf also met his Deputy Speaker. Troops arrest suspected masterminds of 2014 Gombe Line bombing. And outside Nigeria, Barack Obama speak tough on not being enough. The wraps it on the news tonight. I'm Nifemi Okotoye. Thanks for being there.